everybody, welcome to Season 6 of Moxham Trails. This means it's the 5-year anniversary of owning the property, so I'm expecting big things this season. It is the heart of blackfly season right now, so Ethan decided not to come, and I'm also not anticipating doing a lot of work up here. Really just wanted to come up, check the place out, see how it fared through the winter, and kind of get an idea for the things I'd like to tackle this year. My friend Rick joined me. You may remember him from a few other episodes. He came with me to give me some advice on things like trail building and also the driveway, which clearly needs some attention. This episode's going to be a little bit different because although I'm going to include some footage of the things we're doing here today, I'd also like to do a recap of the last 5 years. So for those of you who are new to the channel, let's get you up to speed. Season 1 started in 2020 during the heart of the COVID pandemic. I had just purchased the property when the shutdown happened, and it was the perfect place for Ethan and I to get away while safely social distancing. Moxham Trails is almost 18 acres with about 1/4 of an acre of clearing, but it wasn't always clearing. When Ethan and I first got here, it was covered with small saplings, and we spent our first 3 visits taking them out. We also spent some time exploring the property and found places like Fern Gully, a seasonal stream, and some great landscape for mountain bike trails. We made 2 trails that create a loop around most of the land. Up Chuck is the climbing trail we use to get to the top of the property, and then B&B is the trail we take to get back down. B&B stands for berms and bridges, which I envision the trail will be full of when it's done. Then, we made a dead-end trail along the road and named it Multiple Choice because there are a bunch of different features to choose from.
You have the Bumpy Rock Garden, my personal favorite, the Teeter Totter, and if you're not really ready for those 2, you can just go around.
We took down some trees to enhance the view of Moxham Point, which is where the channel gets its name, and then we ended the season by making a bonfire pit. We spent most of Season 2 making additions to the clearing. We did some work on the driveway, built a lumber rack, a privacy room that later became our shower, an axe throwing target, and finally an outhouse. Season 3 was a mix of maintenance and trail building. We added some features like the skinny on Multiple Choice and the bridge on Upchuck. We ended the season by adding the shelter for storage. Season 4 was a bit less exciting. We didn't make any major additions, but had a good time enjoying the place with our friends, and continued with chores like organizing the shelter. Last year, in Season 5, we added a firewood rack, created a new trail called Tinkerbell, and tried our hands at some archery. That brings us to today. So you're all up to speed. And speaking of speed, let's take a look at this driveway. Just a little backstory. When we bought the property, this driveway was an old logging road, and it was covered with this big gravel, but also had a lot of grass growing up through it, and that was basically everything. And I never had an issue driving up it. Part of me thinks I should have just left it that way. I never had any spin outs or anything like that, but it didn't look much like a driveway, so I thought I needed to put some new material on it. This is the stuff I ordered. It's called Item 4, and it was supposed to be 50% gravel and 50% fine material, and what I got was about 90% fine material and 10% gravel. And over the last couple years, a lot of that fine sand has been washed right out into the road. Part of that is a drainage problem. We need to find a way to reroute the water to the side so that it doesn't wash this stuff down. But I also think I need a different top layer. I'd like to go back to the quarry and get something, certainly not as big as this stuff, but like gravel size, and lay that down on top. Rick has a camp near here, and he's dealt with similar issues, so I figured his input would be great.
Yeah, we can take some planks of wood and do some French drains. I got one at my house I built up based on the ones they put up at our camp.
And you put those in yourself, so it's something that we could technically do. It's not something I'd have to hire out.
Right, I put the one at my house in by myself.
So you were saying we could basically dig small trenches
Yeah.
across this?
Shovel width trench, maybe one to capture most of the water coming off the top landing here, somewhere close to where we're standing. It starts picking up some momentum a little ways down here. Maybe something between you and down here. And I'll just shoot the water off to the side so that it stops all the water heading straight down, and then maybe one more down there. Even just one here would help a lot.
But you dig a ditch and then you basically line it with pressure treated plywood, like
Yep.
3 sides of a square.
Three-sided. It's basically a wooden gutter. A couple planks of wood, a couple of bolts and pipe to hold it together at the top.
This is
Okay.
a 6. These are 8s.
All right, so yeah, so this is your difference. Mine, I think I did 6s. And if I did it again, I would go wider. Because you've got bolts every couple feet. Like maybe, I think I have one like every 3 feet or so. And, you know, your pickaxe gets stuck on it, or you know, and it's hard to clean this thing out.
Yeah, I like the 8-foot.
The 8 is a better width.
So it would look something like this in the flat.
Yeah.
All the way across the driveway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm worried that this is going to fill with sediment.
It fills, but it fills with leaves and sediment, but at the same time, it's easy to clean out.
Because I think I've seen some videos where people like have like filter socks or things like that they can put in here that doesn't allow the fine stuff to get in, but you know the water can still flow through it. It's not a completely open channel like this.
I would start with just the basic one. See how it fills.
Yeah.
Don't over-engineer it to start with.
Don't try to fix a problem you might not have. I'm pretty sure almost all, if not all, the water coming down off of this hill is either going over behind that blue tarp and into the woods, or it's coming down to where you're standing and it's going down right there. Problem water is coming down off of this hill, and also just the water that's landing on the driveway and the shed area.
You can see the washout starts to happen a lot right here. It's picking up steam.
So yeah, maybe right here is where we put it. Was not planning on actually doing any work today, but that's kind of one of the reasons I like bringing friends up here. They're always a little bit more gung-ho than I am. So Rick wants to dig, I'm gonna let him dig.
My friends and I, just to pass the time, do all the macho things, slice the lonely chicken wing. But when I'm by myself,
Well, the driveway itself was the easy part. It's when you get over here off the driveway that things are a little bit more packed in.
put on my heels and dance. Hey, 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 come on. Shake it, little Tina, shake like little Tina. Love it, yeah. Shake it, little Tina, shake like little Tina. Honey.
We actually got a really good start on this one. It needs to go a little deeper and it needs to be a little wider, but I can see this taking shape and I don't have any question about whether or not it's doable. Down here, we still don't know. The goal here is not to do as much work as we did on the last one, but really just do a test dig. But we know how that goes. Next thing you know, we'll have been here an hour and we've got half a trench put in. This one's going to angle the other way. It's going to go this way because this is the beginning of the gutter that runs down the entire right side of the driveway. So if we can just get the water that accumulates between that ditch and this ditch to run off to the right and into that gutter, I think we'll be okay. And I doubt we'll need a third one further down.
I'm a modern dude. I eat all that modern food. But when it comes to public good, I'm Tina Turner, 69. Yeah, come on. Shake it, little Tina, shake like little Tina. Love it, yeah. Shake it, little Tina, shake like little Tina.
So both of these trenches, this one and the one up there, both look like they're going to be about 16 feet long. So 2x8s on the sides and a 2x8 on the bottom. I'll need 6 of them here and then 6 more up there. I think I mentioned it a few times last season. This axe throwing target has seen better days. We've been using it pretty regularly. I think this is one of the activities that Ethan actually does the most when he visits. So it's getting to the point now where the axes don't even stick into the wood anymore. I figured as long as I've got my tall friend Rick here, it's a good time to replace this. Ethan and I painted a new one. It's just a matter of throwing it up. This one's actually not in too bad shape. Apparently when we missed left. Go ahead. The first screw was a pivot point, so we'll just put that out.
You hold the bottom up then. Once that's lined up where you want it.
Lined up
There, I think.
There we go. I'm not even going to throw an axe at it. I'll let Ethan have the first shot. This is probably something we're going to have to do every 2 or 3 years. Well, we've already gotten more done than I thought we were going to do up here. This was mainly going to be a reconnaissance mission, but we've dug a couple trenches in the driveway. We've got the axe throwing target put up. And I think we're just going to spend the rest of our time here taking a walk in the woods, seeing what the trails look like. I did make this neat little toy to help with some trail building this year. It's got a level on it that boats use for the heel. And I threw it on this piece of wood, made sure it was level when I attached it, and a handle. Now as I walk through the woods, I can measure the steepness of hills, and should give me a pretty good idea. When it comes to upchuck and this climb up to the top of the property, I really want to limit the steepness and just make it a long, steady climb rather than a steep climb. So if there's anything I find on this trail that's more than 30 degrees, I'm going to try to address it in one way or another. So this is that first steep hill on upchuck, and towards the end of last year I came up with a reroute that goes this way, but as long as we have the inclinometer here, let's check it out and see exactly what this hill is. Set it down on a spot that I feel like it fairly represents the slope of the hill. We're a little less than 15 degrees, and honestly this is one of the steepest hills. So forget what I said about 30 before. I'd kind of want to keep things more in the 10-degree range. So Rick and I were coming up upchuck, and I wanted to show him the alternative I had mapped out. And we're pretty much on the same page up to here. And then I had the trail kind of heading through there. And what we noticed is that there's a bit of a deer trail going up through here over that white birch right there. And it actually seems like it's a better option. To the point now where I've pulled the flags of what I had planned on doing. I'm going to reflag it going a different way. Tinkerbell is our newest trail, and I'm not entirely sure I have the line right, so I decided to get Rick's take on it.
I would just bend right here. There's plenty of room to turn.
But now walk the other one and see how that one feels. Ripping down through there.
You know what I see? I don't have as good of a sight line until right here. So if you're looking to go around it, this is great for going around.
Yeah, if you're going to go around it, it points you right at the bypass.
Right.
So maybe we do both.
Through here. I'm in line with that bypass. If I want to just keep, and that's a great moment, that'll pick up some momentum.
Yeah.
Maybe have something awesome to hit down there for the
Put
momentum.
a little wooden berm right there.
Anybody who's hitting this can hit it. They both end up in the same spot with momentum. And we need to do something with the momentum down in there.
Yeah. That about does it. Rick and I did a loop around the property and checked out there's some fallen trees that need to be cut up and got some ideas for new places to build features. And then we bumped into my neighbors and had a good conversation with them, so it was good to catch up a little bit. I also found out that the neighbors with the barking dogs are gone, so maybe that will make some of these videos a little bit easier to shoot. We are done here for the day. I've got some good ideas of how I want to address the driveway, and I'm happy to see that everything made it through the winter okay. I'm just looking forward to coming back up here with Ethan and working on the trails. So for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.